So part of the answer is to make sure that people have access to basic care, particularly preventive care. Because so many of the diseases that occur around the world we can prevent fairly cheaply, and once people are sick, then it's very expensive. So, in Africa, if we can get mosquito nets, we know that lot of disease and death is caused by mosquito-borne diseases. And we've pushed very hard, and we are now in a position where we could potentially if not completely, eliminate and then shrink drastically the incidence of malaria around the world. It's not that complicated. It's just a matter of organizing how we do it. And we know we've done it before because polio, for example, is an area where there's been enormous progress. And there's just a few pockets of polio left in the world. Smallpox. Same thing. So we know how to do this. It's a matter of global organization that's very important. So that's point number 1. Point number 2. People's incomes have to be increased. Nothing kills you like poverty. And so you can't separate trying to make people healthier from giving them the ability to make enough money and have enough resources to support themselves and their families. One of the things that we've done, in addition to the global health initiatives that we've worked on, is programs like Feed the Future. And what we do is not give food, although we obviously are the biggest contributor of food around the world, but what we do is we take small farmers and we say, What is it that you need to increase yields? And in some cases, it may be something as simple as new seeds. In some cases, it may be something as simple as a small mechanized system so that they can process the seeds on sites. And just that small amount of processing allows them to sell it on the market more expensive. Because they don't have to send it to a big granary, and that person takes a cut of their income. And by getting a little bit more money, now maybe they can buy a small tractor in a cooperative. And what we've been able to do is to see small landholders increase their incomes by 5, 7, 10 times. And suddenly, they become not just farmers but small business people, and they start hiring people. And it creates a new economy in those communities. And that's not just an economic program, it's also a health program, because if they've got more money and now they've got a roof over their heads, and they can afford a mosquito net. And they're eating better so their body has greater immunity to diseases, there's enormous improvement generally. Now, the good news, remember I said this is why I'm optimistic. If you look at the UN Millennium Goals that were set 20 years ago, we did not achieve all the goals. But infant mortality has dropped dramatically during that period of time. The number of people who live in extreme poverty has dropped dramatically during this time. And so I was very glad that the UN came together this year around a new set of sustainable development goals. If we can do that, and we continue with the kinds of joint healthcare programs that I discussed, then I'm optimistic that we'll continue to see progress. Because most of the deaths that happen, they happen to infants with preventable diseases. They happen to mothers when they're giving birth. They occur because of diseases that could have been prevented with very little money and people having slightly higher incomes. And so it's going to be up to young people like you, though. To continue to find new areas where we can make progress and make improvements. Good luck. The young woman right there. Yes, right there. Question, good afternoon. President Obama, good afternoon. Question, first of all, I want to thank your country and your administration. For investing in women like me and others from around the world that use sports. As a way of developing other women through the Global Sports Mentoring Program. President Obama, excellent. Question, and then you mentioned two things during your speech before. One was that this is the generation that needs to make a change in the world, and I honestly believe that. And then you also mentioned that we cannot expect to create those changes. If we keep on doing the same things over and over for this amount of years. And in my opinion, when it comes to businesses, that's kind of the way things are working right now. And when it comes to social entrepreneurs like myself or social businesses. There are very few countries that have a framework to empower people and social entrepreneurs to create those kinds of businesses. So my question is, what would be your advice for social entrepreneurs to keep on doing this hard work? And what do you think is the responsibilities of government to change those? Rules so that social businesses can be the new kind of businesses in this world? President Obama, before I answer your question, tell me about your business. What is it? Tell me about the programs that you're doing. Question, okay, so I run a nonprofit organization in Rosario. And we focus on creating social change by empowering youth living in poverty and by generating civic participation. By that, we also use innovative tools such as coding for kids. New type of businesses we develop, we help them achieve and develop life skills. That's what we are doing right now. President Obama, and how long has the program been going on? Question, almost 10 years now. President Obama, okay. Excellent. Well, I started in the nonprofit sector in community work. And so it's something that I care deeply about. Each country is different. In the United States, most social entrepreneurs are typically financed through the private sector. Essentially philanthropies, rich people, or businesses, they finance it. Other countries it will come through the government and the taxes that people pay. But what we've learned is that for many of the social problems that we face, it has to be a combination of the private sector and the nonprofit sector and government working together to really make a difference. And what do I mean by that? So I'm sure if you go into a poor neighborhood in Argentina, just like a poor neighborhood in the United States, there are a lot of different kinds of problems. You have, first of all, economic issues because these communities don't have jobs, businesses have not invested in them, in some cases. It may be factories that used to be there moved away, and so the jobs that people used to have there no longer exist. So part of the effort has to be how do we bring private sector, businesses and attract investment into those communities to create jobs. That's point number one. But the businesses may not come unless the government has built the infrastructure, the roads or the Wi-Fi connections or what have you. So the government has to make an investment. And even if the businesses and the government are prepared to do what they need to do, the human capital, the people, they have to make sure that they're getting the education that they need, the training that they need. In some cases, in the United States at least, if they're very poor communities, you have young people who have been in poor families for generations. So they may not even know what the inside of an office building looks like. They may never have experienced what it means to go to a job. At a certain time and structure their day in an organized way. And that's where a nonprofit, a social entrepreneur, can come and say, we'll partner with young people and have a professional or an adult who is working with that person and showing them, this is what's possible for you. opening their eyes to telling some young girl in a poor neighborhood. You can be a computer scientist, and why don't you come with me? And this is what computers are, they're not that complicated. This is what coding means, and if you can do math, then you can start coding. And suddenly, just by them seeing the possibilities, that inspires their effort. The point is that each of those pieces are important. I don't know enough about how social entrepreneurs and community organizations and nonprofits are financed here in Argentina to give you a good opinion. I could give you an opinion. Politicians always can give you opinions. But I can't give you a good opinion because I don't have enough information about. What changes might be made to give an organization like yours more support? But one of the things that's interesting that's happening in the United States is that you're starting to see organizations that are kind of a blend of for-profit and non-for-profit. So they might have a business component that, let's say, sells handcrafts and artwork that's made by a community for profit. But then the money goes into financing the social programs that help give people these opportunities. And how they're treated in terms of taxes and the corporate organization that's going to change by country. Each country is going to have a different model. But more and more, I believe that that's going to be the wave. Of the future if we want to make progress on these problems. I guess to make a broader point, so often in the past there's been a sharp division between left and right. Between capitalist and communist or socialist. and especially in the Americas, that's been a big debate, right? Oh, you know, you're a capitalist Yankee dog, and oh, you know. You're some crazy communist that's going to take away everybody's property. And I mean, those are interesting intellectual arguments, but I think for your generation, you should be practical and just choose from what works. You don't have to worry about whether it neatly fits into socialist theory or capitalist theory. You should just decide what works.